people are doing better as a result of social media presence.
If it doesn't do those three things, then it's on the chopping block.
It's a return on investment discussion.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Daily Dealer Live. I'm your host Sam Dark, and this is the space where all automotive comes together to learn, to share, to grow. Thanks for joining us today. Whether you're a dealer, a vendor, or someone just passionate about where automotive's headed, you're in the right place. Let's jump into today's breaking news. First up today, rideshare and mobility company Uber is taking another big swing at autonomous driving by teaming up with NVIDIA and Stellantis to build what the company calls, quote, the world's largest self-driving vehicle networks. The partnership announced Tuesday will power Uber's next generation of robotaxis and delivery vehicles using NVIDIA's latest AI computing platform. Stellantis will provide the first phase of the fleet, which includes at least 5,000 cars built with NVIDIA's hardware and software for level 4 autonomy, meaning the vehicles can drive without human supervision under most conditions. The big picture here, the idea is to blend Uber's global ride-hailing network with NVIDIA's AI backbone and Stellantis' manufacturing scale, creating a plug-and-play model for autonomous vehicles. And a big question for our social media, everybody across all CDG social platforms, answer this question in the comments. Do you think they can pull it off? 100,000 robotaxis, that's a steep number. Give us your comments. We'll bring them into today's show. That plus other comments as we come up on today's show. All right, so next up today, Stellantis is recalling over 24,000 Jeep Wrangler plug-in hybrids, plus nearly 300,000 Ram ProMaster vehicles are being recalled by Chrysler. In a CDG recall watch, Stellantis is issuing two major recalls this month. One is for Jeep's plug-in hybrid Wrangler and another for Ram's popular ProMaster Master Fleet vans. First, more than 24,000 Wrangler 4xe hybrids from 23 to 25 are being recalled after an over-the-air software update caused some vehicles to completely lose power. Reportedly, the glitch disrupted communication between two control modules and essentially bricked the vehicle. Stellantis says every affected Wrangler likely has the defect and that a permanent software fix is still in development. Separately, nearly 290,000 Ram ProMaster vans are being recalled for a potential fire risk tied to cooling fan modules with weak fuse protection, ultimately creating a big disruption for fleet operations that depend on these vehicles for daily revenue. To find out more about these recalls, head on over to CDG Recall Tracker powered by BusyCar at cdgrecalls.com. Next up today, Google Ads is tightening the rules on misleading pricing by rolling out new transparency requirements that could help rebuild customer trust in online car shopping. Effective now, any dealer advertising through Google will have to clearly disclose full prices, payment models, and any conditions tied to, quote, free offers. For context, the policy directly targets bait and switch tactics, i.e. those too good to be true prices that vanish once a customer shows up to the dealership lot. The rules also tightens the standard for app promotions as well as advertising funnels that offer a trial period without warning users that charges kick in later. Violators will get a 7-day warning before Google suspends their accounts. Industry voices say the policy levels the playing field for those already operating with transparency, while also helping weed out bad actors who hurt the industry's reputation. What's the bottom line on this? Well, Google's new policy matches the direction many, but not all dealers are already heading: cleaner, more straightforward, and more transparent car buying experiences. Fascinating that they have to create a policy to do that. Hopefully everybody's already doing it. And then finally up today, we turn to the CDGBuySell.com tracker, CDG Buy Sell. Lithia Motors is expanding its portfolio yet again by acquiring 3 Hyundai dealerships in Orange County, California, including Anaheim Hyundai. That's right at Disneyland for everyone. Huntington Beach Hyundai and Garden Grove Hyundai, which were all purchased from Nori Shaver Automotive Group. The deal boosts Lithia's Southern California footprint and adds roughly $440 million in annual revenue. Year to date, Lithia's U.S. acquisitions are now expected to contribute more than $1 billion in new revenue. Bottom line, this transaction is a textbook example of how the big publics are using scale and market density to accelerate growth. And don't forget, of course, you can see this deal and more throughout the entire year by visiting the CDG Buy Sell Tracker at cdgbuySell.com. And for all those, I love it. I love it. And actually, let's turn to welcome to the show, Yuli. Welcome back. That's a wrap on today's news.
What's up, guys?
Yuli, welcome back. Yuli, I've got a brand new teleprompter, and I'm having a little bit of a challenge getting the words to scroll down. So for
it seems like
everybody
mostly
that's
good
glitch-
news.
Yeah, it is very, it's awesome. It's awesome news. Hey, so for everybody back again to the comment about our social media platforms, we're live streaming as we always are across all the social media properties. Bring your comments in. They help us make today's show awesome. We'll bring them into the comments as we go. We hear from Jeff Reveal first, and we hear High Valley Toyota second. So first and second. I have no idea what that means. What does that mean?
First comment, second comment.
There we go.
One of those
All right.
things.
Well, we'll take
Remember
it.
those threads
We'll
where
take
people
it.
would always try to be first? Yeah, maybe it's that.
Yeah, that's what we're going here. So, all right. Well, hey, let's turn to our first guest today, COO Coleman Auto Group, Jami Langham. Welcome to the show, Jami.
Hey, Jamie.
Hi.
Jami, we are pumped to have you here. So, actually, before we go in and we ask you our banner question, how's biz? We'd also like to have you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do there at the Coleman Auto Group. So, how's biz, Jami?
Well, business is great. I just started with the Coleman Automotive Group on like last Monday. So my life has been a little bit of a whirlwind,
That's fast.
getting associated with all of the stores and kind of how they operate.
Yeah.
I have been in the industry for 29 years. The majority of it was spent in the finance world. And then I've been the GM of Toyota Lexus stores. And I've done a little bit of marketing, websites, internet, BDCs, sales, finance director. So I've done a little bit of everything.
Yeah. What drew you to the COO role and the Coleman Auto Group? That's a big change. So you go from the Fort Wayne market to the Midwest. You go from 1 or 2 stores to, the Coleman Auto Group is scaled from 1 to 5 stores in just a year. And Kyle was on here and he talks about how he wants to grow to 40 within the next decade. What prompted your leap?
So I love a challenge. I've known Kyle for quite a while, actually. I've known Kyle and his brother Ryan, and when he was looking at doing the dealerships, I was one of the early investors, so I'm a shareholder, and decided that maybe I should use my talents and gifts to help grow something that I'm a part of. And I believe in Kyle. He is crazy. And when he sets his mind to something, it will happen. If he says he's going to have 40 stores, he's going to have 40 stores.
Yeah. So when you think about it, what are the foundational steps that you've put in place as you come over? I mean, you're brand new, right? So you're probably still trying to figure things out. But as you think about that rapid expansion, what steps are you putting in place to help ensure consistent growth as you grow so rapidly? Like going 1 to 5 in 12 months is tough, and then from 5 to 40 in a decade is also a challenge. How are you approaching that, scaling it?
So my initial, whenever I go into somewhere new, I never think that I have all the answers. So I like to go in and kind of look and see how things are running, what I think is doing well, what I think could probably be tweaked. So my goal to start out with is to make it to each store. I'm at the second store that I've been to. So I started with the Nissan store in Warsaw. That's closest to me. And this week I'm at the Mount Pleasant store, kind of just going through a little bit of everything, seeing their processes from sales to service, looking at the financial statements, looking at, basically how everything is running. I will come up with a game plan for what I think is working well, what I think could probably use improvements, get with the general manager of that store, get with Kyle, Jay, and, go from there on implementing what I think they could benefit from.
So at the Rohrman Auto Group, in your prior place of employment at Fort Wayne Toyota, you were recognized at least once as the top GM in the Rohrman Auto Group with the Alpha Award. Which,
Yes,
by the way, isn't that
Kyle must have told you that, because I did not. Yes.
That's a great name for an award, by the way, the Alpha Award. A, what did you think of that? And then what does it take to get that award? How did you earn that?
So they set out metrics like at the beginning of the year that you have to hit. And, they have a program there that all of the departments have to be in. So your sales, your service, your parts, the finance, everything has to be firing on all cylinders. You have to have a specific net to sales. You have to win your president's award. Like there was just, of different categories that I had to do. There's 21 stores, and I was the only GM who got the Alpha Award last year. And I was super proud of that.
So Jami, like getting that last year, it's in a tough business environment. Give our audience one strategy that you applied last year to win that Alpha Award, to become the best of the best in the Rohrman Auto Group.
So I looked at it every day. Like I knew what I had to do. I knew what the metrics were. Look, Ryan Rohrman's a pretty smart guy. I figured if I follow his program and I do what he's asking me to do, my store is going to be successful. So I kept it in front of me. I kept it in front of my employees every week. My guys knew where we were, if we were on track. I'm a big metric person, and I believe that when everybody knows the goal and everybody knows what we're driving for, then they all get on board and they all feel like they're a part of something and they help drive it. I didn't do it by myself. I did it with my team. I did it with everyone around me, and everyone knew what the goal was. Everyone knew that that's what we were going for. And they were proud to have, the only Alpha GM.
That's awesome. So Todd, in the green room before you came on, we talked a little bit about how unique it is to have someone like yourself in a senior executive position for a group. You're a woman in an industry that is really male-driven, male-dominated. Give us your take on where you are today, how you got there, and what gave you the confidence to say, "Hey, I'm going to become the CEO of a large group, and we're going to go grow this in an industry where you don't see a lot of women in those senior executive positions."
Yeah. So, when I was coming up through the ranks, so I started in sales. I did sales for 3 years, and I wanted to move into the finance department. And I never felt like I was being held back to move into the finance department because I was a woman. I felt they were doing it because I sold too many cars, and they didn't want
awesome.
they didn't want to move me out of it. So I just never thought about being a woman that it was that big of a deal. It wasn't until I became a GM and people started saying crazy things to me that I was a woman, and I'm like, oh goodness. I had one gentleman, I was at a Lexus event, and the only people invited to this event were dealer principals, GMs. I mean, everybody couldn't come to this meeting. So obviously I had to be one of those two people. And he's sitting down next to me and he says, "Oh, what do you do at the store?" And I said, "Well, I'm the general manager of the store." And he pats me on the leg and says, or not yet, he doesn't pat me. He says, "Oh, do your parents own the store?" And I said, no, I'm actually one of those women that actually has a brain, and I did it all on my own. I worked really hard, and I came up through the ranks and learned everything I could. And I actually became a GM on my own with my own brain. He pats me on the leg and says, "Oh, sweetie, good for you."
Wow.
So yes, I've kind of heard it all, but it was actually kind of shocking to me because I've never thought about being a woman, that it was a hindrance. I always seen it as a superpower. I do care about people, and they tend to follow me. I have very loyal employees.
Yeah. What message would you give to other women looking to either own a dealership, get into senior executive positions in a dealership, become a general manager, and not because of family relationships, but just because that's where they see their path. And what message would you deliver to them?
I would say soak it all up. Women do have the ability to multitask. They just do. I know that
men, by the way, I think
they say it's not a real thing, but yes, it is. I can multitask with the best of them.
Yeah.
Take it all in and never think that you can't do it. Like there is absolutely no reason. Learn, pay close attention to everything, and if you set your mind to it, you can absolutely do it. And you can do it with the family. I raised 3 boys through this craziness. My husband and I have been together 35 years, just celebrated 30th wedding anniversary. You can have it all. You really can.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, we're going to turn with you to some of the industry news popping up from today, because I'd love to get your perspective, again, as part of a brand new group. We saw this news of Google's new ad policies now requiring clear pricing to fight deception. What's your take on that? Is there a need for this type of a policy from a lead aggregator, lead distributor, lead generator like Google to take a stand on pricing? And how are your stores, or how will your stores adapt to this new policy to build customer trust?
So to me, it's sad that we would need a policy like this. But I suppose it is necessary. I mean, there are people that, are deceptive, which gives, there's deceptive people in any industry, but it gives the car business a bad name. Transparency is the best way to go. We live in a world where everything is at everyone's fingertips. Why you would think that you would get away with deceptive practices in today's world? You're just setting yourself up for failure. So it's unfortunate that this even needs to be spoken of or a policy, but the industry, people do desperate things, when they're trying to get ahead, which is sad. If you just, in my opinion, I've always just done the right thing, try to do it the best way for the customer, and you always win.
Yeah. The other thing that's in the news that's kind of interesting right now, earlier this week, we've been reporting, actually for the last 2 weeks, of potential chip shortages stemming from a shortage from a Dutch chip supplier and an argument with China. And it's actually trickling down. We're starting to see some delays in Honda, and some other OEMs are saying they're scaling back some production. From your level and position, how do you deal with that? It seems like we're always seeing these market shifts in automotive, and if we start to see less new cars in the marketplace, growing auto groups such as yourself with Ford, CDJR, Chevy, Buick, Lincoln, Toyota, how will you adjust and adapt to that?
Well, you're going to have to go back to, used is going to have to be, if the new car market is dwindling again, you're going to have to go back to the used market. And that is a tough market. I mean, acquiring vehicles is not an easy, it's not for the faint of heart, that is for sure. But also, I do think that there will still be some cars there. You need to have good relationships with your OEM. You do need to, these cars are not, heirloom pieces. It's okay to separate from a car, sell the car, get them on, get them out, get them circulating. They're going to come back to your service department. So I think probably lean a little bit heavier again on used cars, but hopefully we don't go back to that huge pendulum swing that we did with used cars, and it doesn't, kind of spike up quite as much as it did. And we stay a little bit more even keeled this time. Yeah. We learned from our mistakes. We'll hope.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Jami, a few questions from social media. Mustafa says, which processes are best to operationalize and standardize across multiple rooftops?
So I think that, each store is a little bit unique, and it depends on, your market and your surroundings. But I think the way that we're looking at actually maybe standardizing some pay plans, those are always good to kind of standardize, and the process from the desk to the customer to the service department, the handoff. I think those are good processes to have equal across all with all the organizations. But, I do have different brands that I'm dealing with, and I did just start, and I don't like to change everybody's situation my first day. So maybe I can come back on after I'm here 6-7 months, and I can answer that question a little bit better for our group.
Yeah. And actually, so I am curious, in my own COO role, I think one of the things when I think about standardizing, to Mustafa's point, and getting operations consistent across a group, finding good vendor partners are key, right? So whether it's a DMS, whether it's a CRM, whether it's lead providers, because you develop those relationships and you can ask them to outpunt, and help you become better. Are there any tools out there from your time at Toyota or history in the automotive experience that have really provided a valuable return that you lean into as you take on this new role?
So our DMS, we have Tekion. I had Tekion at Toyota Lexus, and we also have Tekion with the Coleman Automotive Group. I personally like them a lot. I know, you hear mixed reviews, but I do like them. Their superpower is it can do everything, and it has so much information. And then the negative is that they can do everything. So it's it's a lot of information that you can get. I love their executive dashboard. We are going to implement a few things rolling out for November that I want to see in the Tekion DMS. But the Tekion, I do think, is one of the things that I like the best. I can really dive into the information and see how a store is really performing.
So your former boss, Ryan Norman's been on the show once, and he did kind of a masterclass on the AI tech stack and tech stacks in general. Anything that you're taking from your experience there and implementing into the new group as it relates to the AI world, which we've talked about ad nauseum for many episodes, right? As has the entire industry.
Yes. So AI, I have a love-hate relationship with
really?
AI. I do. I mean, I love the human touch. It is, but I think there is a need for it. And, some of the stuff being automated, I think is definitely an advantage. So yes, there are some things that I will be bringing over from my former group to here. There's a lot of things that they did well. It's a great group. I mean, the Roman Automotive Group, they are amazing, and it's a great group. And we're hoping here at the Coleman Automotive Group to grow bigger.
Yeah. All right. Last question up, because I'm super curious about this. You're new to the role. Kyle, probably some of the other employees, but one of the biggest tasks right out the gate in your COO role is to establish credibility with the GMs, the different employees that you work with. What's your tip and strategy to develop that relationship and that credibility so that you can steer the ship? Again, 1 to 5 in a year is a lot of growth, but certainly 5 to where you want to go as an organization over the next decade is tremendous growth. How do you get that buy-in and build that credibility among your team?
So like I do with anyone when I come in somewhere, I think I'm very personable. I genuinely care about each and every one. I want every store to succeed. And I think if you pour into your people, I think they really can feel that. I do know what I'm talking about. So that definitely helps when we have conversations. They can see that I'm not just blowing smoke, and I'm not asking them to do something that I never did myself. So I think my 29 years experience, that definitely helps. And I genuinely care about each and every person that I am going to be leading. I want them to have the best life possible. I want all their employees to have the best life possible, because when you pour into those people, it makes everybody feel like a team. It makes everyone, we're all driving for the same thing. And that's when you have the best results, when everyone feels like they're a part of something. So I feel like I do a decent job of relaying that because it's genuine.
Yeah. Well, some great comments for you off social media. We'll just read a couple of them. Lauren Klein says, women in automotive are super women. Great inspiration. Agreed. So props to you from Lauren. Somebody's saying CRM down for y'all. I don't know where that's coming from, but maybe it is. Maybe, it seems like there's always a CRM down somewhere.
I don't know. I'm not on there right now. Maybe.
Yeah. We're not either. And then the CDG were saying, hey, who does everybody want to see on the next episode of the Daily Deal Live? You can post that and other comments too there. But Jami, we absolutely appreciate you being on the show. By the way, Friday we're going to have a big announcement about this 20 group text circles that the Car Dealership Guide Network is creating. You can join basically chat conversations with other people in the industry in your role. It would be awesome to have you join the COO, Chief Operating Officer, chat groups with myself and some others. It's a great resource to be able to kind of share ideas and best practices and talk about vendors and all the other things.
Okay.
So
when
that pops up, come join it, fill out the deal and join us. So we appreciate you being on the show today. Jami Langham, COO, Coleman Automotive Group. And again, we'd love to have you back once you've got some time under your feet and learn lessons as you grow this organization. Jami, thanks for being on the show.
Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate you. Thank you.
My question, Yuli, is what CRM is down and where, and what's it costing? And
I got the chills when I read that. I'm like, ouch.
Yeah. We want nothing to do with that. So let's go to our support here. One moment. So I am learning this whole new deal, and it's going to take me just a minute. But let's talk escalating fines and enforcement. Escalating fines and enforcement actions are hitting dealers hard. KPI's complete compliance suite protects you from every compliance risk while helping to reduce insurance premiums and liability exposure. Visit kpa.io/automotive to learn more, or you can click on the QR code if you're on the live show, or you can go to the show notes if you're not. Either way, we'd love to have you learn more about KPA. And props to KPA for supporting today's content, including that awesome conversation about the Coleman Auto Group. So very cool. Lauren Klein says it always goes down at the end of the month. So, and Ortega, says Jeff Ravilla. So some fun comments and lots coming over there. So, all right, let's turn to our next guest. Yuli, you ready for this? Brian Ortega, Creative Director of Valley High Toyota. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
We're pumped to have you.
Oh my God, the AWS CRM. Yeah, my mind's racking because I could just hear my GMs.
Is that what went down? Is that what went down?
Yeah, my IT guy. I was trying to get everything ready. He's like, "Yeah, AWS may be down again, so look out."
Well, we got you here, so that's the most important piece.
We're here for now.
For us in the very short term, but hopefully everything else gets straightened out for our dealer friends. Yeah. Brian, we got to ask you our signature question. And obviously, as we do, tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do. But, how's biz?
Biz is a little slow right now. People are kind of hesitant, especially in this area of California. But, all in all, it's good. We're ramping, getting ready for the holidays.
Very cool. And what are you doing in the stores?
So I'm the creative director at Valley High Toyota, and since last year, Valley High Kia as well. We are in the high desert of California. So if you're driving from LA to Vegas, we're right there on your way there. And I've been doing this for I've been here for about 12 years, but doing this position about 10. I started off as the picture taker of used cars. And, this industry is so awesome that you get to evolve, right?
Yeah. But creative director is not a position that is in every dealership. So, to me, it's exciting because it sounds like probably the most fun part, aside from, closing deals and shaking hands. So to give us a little bit in the day-to-day of, what you're doing and how you help businesses, scale and get new customers through the showroom.
Yeah. So creative director was a self-imposed, I kind of created that. But yeah, it's doing the marketing for the stores, getting the word out, whether I'm creating videos or writing, banners or putting up billboards or writing radio scripts and things like that. So obviously we're trying to dredge up some traffic and get people in the doors.
Well, we're still seeing these comments come through on AWS. How has things like this with AWS being tied into so many systems that we use on the day-to-day, how has this impacted you guys, and what are you guys doing to kind of hedge against, in the future?
Yeah, so well, with the CRM and things like that, I kind of oversee the tech from between both stores. How we try to mitigate it, right, is just get on the phones. Let's keep it old school, and try to get people in the doors, and obviously through social media and getting the word out, and just trying to get people to head on in.
We live in a digital age. I mean, it is tough to get people to pivot from that.
Yeah.
Lauren Klein, it always goes down at the end of the month. She's right.
Yeah. And you know what? It's interesting. You have a fan base here. So SoCal Car Gal channel said, I came here just to hear Brian Ortega. So
cool.
if you weren't on, we wouldn't have the audience. So Brian, I'm super curious. Your dealership ads are like story-driven mini movies, right? Something that you don't see a lot of in automotive. What inspired you to take that approach of telling a story like a mini movie? And how has it impacted that brand awareness that you like to create and helped you as an organization connect to your customer?
I mean, I always tell the story. I've never been good in the math or science. So I actually went to film school at UC Santa Barbara. I don't know how that implemented, but I got here and we just started creating content long before, when people were taking pictures of people with their cars. I wanted to do videos of the truck driving through the desert with a GoPro cam attached to it and things like that. So definitely evolved, and everyone has these phones. Yuli has the new 17 Pro, so he can make some great 4K movies.
Yeah. So as you're talking about the 4K movies, let's check out the down detector and just go through the AWS again. Breaking news as AWS suffers an outage. By the way, this isn't the first time in the past couple of weeks it's happened. It seems to be happening repeatedly, and it does have an impact on automotive. And the question for our audience, anybody else in the know, is what the heck is going on? Why does it keep persisting? Why does it keep going on? And so we'll keep an eye on that throughout the rest of the show and report back as we get more information. All right, next question up. During some of the inventory shortages, when inventory dried up, you guys pivoted. You cut your ad spend, and instead you gave away $500 gas cards to support the community. What the heck was that about? And how did that kind of non-sales focused marketing help connect you to your clientele? And did it result in sales once inventory came back later on down the road?
Oh, it's about the community, right? It's giving back to the people who have, contributed throughout the years. And we just wanted, it was super genuine. It was, off the cuff, but we wanted to do something to just build awareness, build community, let everybody know.
What did it cost you to do it?
Oh, I didn't do the numbers.
Okay. You were just handing out gas cards, right? So, but were people super pumped to get it? I mean, did it create a lot of gratitude and goodwill to the brand, to the dealership, to the dealer group?
Yeah, definitely. And the way we did it, it was social. We had contests. We had user generated content. People contribute. And I think it was a win-win between the community and the dealership as well. So back and forth.
So the other thing you're very well known for is you've dabbled with some of the generative AI. Tell us about what you've done in that space. I played with Sora. I don't know if you've done much with that, if that's part of it. It is a massively powerful tool, and I can create really cool videos. I just can't figure out what the heck to do with them now. So as a dealer in October of 2025, what are you doing? What's working? And how do I make Sora make sense?
How do you make Sora? I think, we're in the beginning infancy ages of AI. And honestly, I think this will be great for dealerships, especially with budgets. And if you're generating content, we have some, because this is October, we have some spooky designs, right? We have a witch and a werewolf and a skeleton in the showroom right now. And I took photos, and whether using Sora or any of the other ones, actually had them move and created videos and promoting Trucktober for going on in October for the Toyota stores. So, can get really interesting and also creative with that content.
So creating mascots, sorry, go ahead, Yuli. Creating mascots, creating characters that you can weave into your story to help connect with consumers. That's where you're seeing that generative AI working best, right?
Yeah, definitely. And our used car manager is a quite a character himself. And obviously he's always busy, whether he's trying to acquire some vehicles. But we turned Rowdy Rodney into an AI character, and
That's
whether we're
cool.
using his actual voice or a voice generated through AI, we're kind of using that for
How
content and
how
advertising.
how do you know it's working? Like you're creating these cool things. You've got the cinematic videos, you've got gift cards, you've got like you're doing a lot of things to create goodwill, to connect with clients. How do you know it's working? Dustin says you're a genius, an auto genius, in fact. So we're gonna give Dustin the props and the benefit of the doubt on that. But what's your gauge for ROI on it?
Yeah, it's honestly, I mean, are we really going to attach some dollars to it? If I can get my salespeople to actually say we came in because of the commercial, that'd be great. But we're building brand equity, so the
Yeah.
ROI is getting people in the stores, building trust, building a community, like I said before. So
All right, to the dealer that says, hey, we're not funny here at this dealership, or we're not all that creative, what would you say to that dealership team about getting creative if they don't have a lot of the resources and doing things similar to what you've done?
they are. Honestly, everybody is. You know what you're attracted to. You know what you're scrolling through the feed. I mean, you just have to have the wherewithal and have the audacity to actually venture out and creating that content. You have people at your stores that are creative, that are producing content on their own already.
Yeah,
So why not?
it's a car dealership, right? I mean, it's like the funniest people
Yeah.
in the world work at car dealerships.
Exactly. So if we can leverage that and get them to create content, and what I always tell, whether it's managers or principals, like, would you look at the stuff that you're producing right now?
Yeah, it can't be so
Ooh.
dry and stale. Yeah.
I got to
But
tell you,
question
my
was-
kids sometimes will say they wouldn't watch the stuff sometimes from my own internal podcasts and some of the internal clips. So that is a good gauge. Would your kids watch it? Would your employees watch it? Yuli, go ahead.
No, my question was just, how are you deciding what direction to go? I mean, you mentioned some things that are, seasonal, but when you're building these campaigns or, implementing these ideas, like where are you getting your cues from? To add on to what Sam asked you, if you're a dealership that hasn't really leaned into this, what are you looking for? How are you getting inspiration? And then how are you implementing that?
Yeah, so it could be what's going on in the world, what's relevant, right? So I use this thing called I call it the prime method. Is your content personal? Like, is it something that you enjoy? Is it something that you can relate to everybody? Which is the R stands for, is it relatable, relevant? What's going on in the world today? Like I said, it's Halloween. We're getting ready for the holidays, and everybody's preparing for that. That's super relevant. Is your content informational? So the I, you can have fun and also share some great content. Right now with Toyota's the buy 3 tires, get 1 for $1. And, we produced the video with the fake guy that's bald and comparing that as the tire. So which leads to the M, is your content memorable? Can people relate to it?
Ooh, yeah.
We have 9 years worth of zombie commercials that are out right now. And the E stands for whether engaging or entertaining, right? So it's like you said, they're little episodes, they're TV things. We are attached to our devices, and
For
we
sure.
want everybody to see what's going on in our lives and in
So
our
I don't
world.
want to put you on the spot here, but the question would be, rather than a generic hook like come and check our scary deals for October, what's something that you could do that could be original, or what's something you have done? If I haven't seen it yet, I apologize, but
Oh yeah, so you can go down the Valley High Toyota rabbit hole real quickly. I mean, you can type in these things. Ask ChatGPT
yeah,
what would be funny, a spooktacular, scary
yeah,
good
yeah.
deals. You could definitely do that.
I love it.
So you are a creative director. You're employed at the store. The store has obviously seen enough value and ROI in it to invest in your position. If you ran your own store, would you have the position? What would your plea be to make sure that position, sustained itself? And I mean, I think in our world of generative AI and creativity and social media, you've got to have somebody like you as part of a dealership.
Well, we know that 70%, of shoppers are influenced by video.
Yeah.
We see, everybody's on Instagram, Reels,
Mhm.
and YouTube. And so it's now, because you can produce this content straight from your phone, that's organic. You know, you don't have to, and if it hits and if it gets viral and people are sharing that content. So if you're asking me about what I would do, I would hold auditions for my employees.
Yeah. You make it a bigger deal. Yeah. And actually, there are dealer groups that we've had on the show where they say, hey, each one of their salespeople are social media influencers, right? So they are going to create their own content. They're going to put it out there. And someone with your background really is kind of the starting point for that. So Brian Ortega, Creative Director, Valley High Toyota, we appreciate you being on the show, sharing your perspectives for everybody wanting to see your work, your content. Go to Valley High Toyota on the different social media platforms. You can check out these really cool videos, these generated AI images and campaigns and themes. And we just appreciate you being on the show. And by the way, going back to our circles, right? So it's the conversation groups that we have. We're going to make a big announcement again on Friday. Brian Benstock's going to join the show. Yossi, the car dealership guy, we'd love to have you be part of one of the conversation groups as we all seek to learn together. Any creative director, it'd be great to have as part of that group as well. So thanks for being on the show.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Brian.
And for our audience, we continue to track the AWS outage and its impact on dealership CRMs. We'll get more information as they come in. A lot of comments out there in the world about, isn't it funny as we get towards the end of the month how often some of these different systems go down? And I can attest to it. Usually it's a bad API somewhere. Jim Taylor says Azure down worldwide. We'll continue to track that, bring you more information either today or on Friday's show as well. I love it. So Cargal channel says follow stores that are creative. Colin Kubik, obviously, Brian is the content king. And Justin Jordan Cox says Ortega is leading the pack in the creative space for auto. So actually, next time we have him on, we need to actually bring some of that content on for sure to show our audience. So, but last up today, we're going to welcome to the show Sales BDC Manager from the Van Horn Auto Group, Brittney Dean. Brittney, welcome to the show. Brittney, we're pumped to have you on. Thanks for being here, even in this crazy day with some AWS outages and other things kind of impacting automotive. Tell us, how's biz? And as part of that, who are you and what do you do, Brittney?
Absolutely. So my name is Brittney Dean, Sales BDC Manager with the Van Horn Automotive Group. I've been in automotive for the last 9 years, but I also grew up in automotive. My dad actually owns a small mechanic shop, and he does body work as well. So from little on, I was going on record calls with him. I was doing estimates. Then later on in life, I got into hospitality, did that for a few years, but I really missed automotive. So I came on over and joined the Van Horn Automotive Group and started in BDC and worked my way up to the manager.
Very cool. So you're the man. And how many years have you been part of the BDC there at Van Horn?
9 years.
Okay. So over that decade, you have seen, Brittney, massive changes in customer appetite, customer desire in terms of like how fast they want to be served, how fast they want to be contacted. How dramatically have customer expectations changed, and how have you and your BDC at Van Horn adapted to that changing buyer appetite and buyer demand?
Absolutely. So when I initially started, we had, our response rates were roughly about 15 minutes, which is a long time. Now they're under a minute. Customers want to be followed up with immediately. They want their questions answered. It's completely changed from 9 years ago, and it's really awesome to be a part of it and keep learning. And I love empowering my employees. That's what I love to do because they're the experts in this field. So I tell them all the time, bring an idea to the table, try it for a couple weeks. And if it works, we'll slowly start to roll it out between all of our locations.
So to get that fast a lead response time, talk to us a little bit about what you're implementing to do that. Obviously, you've got some customers that are reaching out at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I hope you're not up at 2 o'clock to give them that 1 minute response time. What are some of the tools and technologies that you're using to deliver that fast a lead response?
Absolutely. So we have AI. We're using Podium. AI does a fantastic job, and AI is really there to provide us with information for the customer so that when we reach out, we have a connection, we are prepared, we don't have to do the research independently ourselves. So AI really, gives us the ammo to follow up with the customer and be prepared for that conversation.
So you as a manager, I did an industry spotlight with Podium a couple weeks ago, actually, and it was interesting. There was a dealer from, I think, Utah, a BMW dealer in Utah, and he talked about how as a GM now, part of his job is managing AI almost like an employee, because you've got these AI agents. How has your role as a BDC manager changed by implementing AI, and how do you engage to train that AI so that it looks and feels and answers and responds like a Van Horn employee?
That's a great question. It takes a lot of work. You definitely need somebody that's overlooking it, but everybody has eyes on it. So we really empower our employees anytime they see that the AI maybe didn't respond as needed, or they want to tweak something. They go ahead and we have a ticketing system that they submit. And we have one person, Tina Tashi, who actually was on.
Tina's been on. Yeah.
Yes. We work very closely with her. So she kind of oversees that, and she submits any requests to Podium. She manages the AI, and you have to have somebody that's heavily involved in that.
So Brittney, what would you say to the dealership employee? Because I've heard this in some groups, not my own, not yours, but let's say somewhere out there where AI doesn't do something right in the response to the BDC inquiry. And then that employee says, hey, it's just proof the AI doesn't work. It's off the rails. It's not ready for prime time yet. Throw it back in the box. Let's turn back on the phone lines and let's go back to doing it the manual way. What do you say to that employee?
AI had to learn from somewhere. So AI must have learned from the humans at the dealership. And ultimately, we make mistakes as well, right? Your employees at the dealership level, BDC, they make mistakes too. AI learns from somewhere, and you need to train and teach that AI how to respond. And it's very quick and easy to make an adjustment. And then he or she or the AI will answer the way you want it to.
Yeah. So there's a new trend in automotive, and it's eliminating BDCs, either because AI has become so proficient, or we had a sales trainer on a few weeks ago, and he said, look, BDC should either be frontline sales. They're closely integrated with sales team. They could take it up if they needed to because they're so well trained, or turn it to AI and then connect the customer quickly and directly to the salesperson. What would you say to the person that says, hey, we don't need a BDC as it's existed in the past today? Salespeople should be able to handle it right out the gate.
If salespeople were able to handle it, we wouldn't have BDCs, right? So to be completely transparent with you, we're here because we really make sure that the follow-up happens, that, nothing falls through the cracks. If you need a team that wants to test something or try something, we keep everything organized down to your processes, making sure that sales does what they need to, that the customer experience is there, because nowadays it is all about that experience. You can go and you can answer their questions all day long, but if you don't provide them with a great experience, they will go right to that next dealership.
Yeah.
Brittney, I got a question for you. And Sam, to your point, I would like to think that those dealerships that are trying to eliminate BDC at this point have watched the erosion of what the BDC should be. And Brittney, this question's for you. Pre-COVID, I think a BDC was a little more effective, right? And it's kind of morphed in a lot of places to just a call center. Now, all of us know that a BDC should not be a call center, but a business development center. So what are you doing under the rooftops to kind of proactively mine for that business while you have AI fielding a lot of that inbound? What's your outbound strategy like?
That's a great question. So with outbound, I have my agents focus heavily on outbound. They need to make so many outbound connections every single day. We are using all of our tools and resources that we have, making sure that we're following up with our customers that maybe purchased 5 years ago. We also are creating specialized BDC departments. So what I mean by that is, a credit solutions department that solely works with subprime customers. We also have a customer relations department that we just started a few years ago to focus on after the sale, because we noticed a need for that. So that's what we're doing to be proactive.
How
Very
has
cool.
hiring changed as you talk about this evolving role, right? You've got to be able to work and implement and manage AI. You've got to be able to work with sales teams and work on that transition piece. You've got to specialize in different areas, like you just mentioned. How has your hiring changed over the years? And what's the best source for new BDC agents or salespeople in the BDC?
hmm Hiring has evolved a lot over the last 9 years since I've been here. We really look for people who have a lot of customer experience, but you have to have a strong training program in place. You truly do, because if you don't have that, it's going to be very difficult for that employee to be able to learn and adapt to everything that we have going on in the automotive industry. And really, we want our BDC agents to continue to grow with the automotive group. We want them to go into sales and become F&I managers. So that's really what we
Has
look
that
for.
happened? Has that
Absolutely.
happened? So it's kind of a starting step, right? As you evolve and develop up through. All right, great question from Lauren Klein. And I love this. How do you guarantee your customers get the same experience when they get into the store? This is a big challenge in all of automotive. It's kind of the disjointed steps as I go. And are not repeating steps, warm transfer, internet salespeople, what's working for you at the Van Horn Auto Group to ensure a consistent, as Yuli talked about, process all the way across?
Training, like I mentioned it earlier, you have to have a strong training program in place, and you have to be making sure that you coach people as time goes on. So what we do on our end is when we get the customer, we really go ahead and we call the store and we talk to them about each appointment that we set and each lead we hand over. We do warm transfers as often as we can to the sales floor, as well as to the managers, so that everybody knows what's going on. We also have save a deal meetings in the morning. Each BDC team has a meeting, and we contact those stores and communicate and let them know what's going on and what they can expect for the day.
So
Brittney,
you're a
I'll bite
centralized.
on the.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I'll bite on the training piece. You mentioned it twice. What's your training look like? Ongoing for your BDC departments that sets you guys apart from the rest.
Absolutely. So with a brand new hire, training is about 4 weeks long. First week is really going to be, a lot of reading, policies, procedures, things like that. Second week is going to be AI, emails. Third week is going to be phone calls. And so is the fourth week. We kind of put all the pieces together. But beyond that, you have to have training throughout the month and every week. So, I mean, I have 3 team leads in place. They are meeting with their teams on a daily basis. They also meet with them on a weekly basis as well. And then we have a large group training every month.
In the large group, are you involving the sales department as well? Because I mean, it would stand to reason that you should kind of weave these departments together to make sure we can solve for that CX.
Mm-hmm. That's extremely important. It's very difficult to get the sales team here. However, every month we do have the new sales consultants come, and BDC puts on a training for them. So we show them all the tools, the CRM, everything that they need to know, our call system. So we kind of train them, and then we also have them shadow BDC. We will also go out to the stores on a monthly basis as well, so that we can build rapport with each sales consultant and with management team, and managers will come to BDC once a month.
So what advice would you give to a salesperson wanting to work the best with a BDC agent to ensure that continuity? Like, do you have any one thing to do and one thing to stop doing today in October of 2025?
Well, we love food, to be completely honest. So you can always buy us food. No, in all seriousness, though. So I would say that read the lead before you proceed, right? It's one of the golden rules. And also log your notes and touch base with your BDC. And I always tell the BD agents as well that if you want to have a great relationship with the sales consultants, call them. Like even if you can answer the customer question, that might be a great time for you to transition over to the sales consultant, right? Yeah. Because that's a piece in the process that's kind of a little bit broken right now. So make sure we do those transfers and introduce that sales rep.
And who is your CRM and your DMS that you use?
CRM is Vin Solutions and DealerTrack.
Okay. So you do DealerTrack, Vin Solutions. Yeah. It's fascinating. Like, It is such a, we've had Glenn Lundy on again. He talks about BDC agents as really frontline sales. And you bring up the point about training. It's all about training, and it's all about execution to create that consistent experience all the way to the front. If you had to look 5 years down the road, given technology and AI and all the other things, does the BDC stay the same, very similar today to its roles and responsibilities? Or what do you see as the biggest change, last question, over the next 5 years?
Over the next 5 years, I see that the focus is really going to shift, and BDC is going to be more involved in the sales process. We're really going to be focusing on digital retailing and taking that customer further down the road. That's what I see the BDC evolving to, and having those specialized departments, like we currently do with Credit Solutions, which is our subprime.
So, Brittney, you would say the salespeople go away. You transfer them right to F&I. Sales might say BDC goes away. You're like, let's get rid of sales. It's the battle between sales and BDC. We absolutely appreciate you being on the show today. Great perspectives. Brittney Dean, Sales BDC Manager, Van Horn Auto Group. Before you leave, are you guys impacted by this AWS outage at all? Have you seen any impact from it?
Yes, we certainly are. So
in what way? Anything you want to share?
Yeah, I mean, we just have issues with our CRM, of course, just like everybody else is in the comments. So we're doing everything we can to kind of stay ahead of it using our other resources and tools that we have.
Yeah, awesome. Well, we appreciate you being on the show. Thanks for sharing your perspectives and the ways that you're delivering more elitely in the BDC. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right. So it's interesting. Amazon reports its earnings tomorrow, so it'll be fascinating to see is there any blowback, pushback from all of this. Amazon Web Services outage reports spiked just a week after major chaos disruption. We haven't seen what is causing this. We've been following this. Thousands of reports on Down Detector showing an outage for AWS from Amazon and also Azure from Microsoft. This is impacting auto dealers who rely on these services for their CRMs and countless other systems. It's unclear what caused this outage, but interestingly, Microsoft reports earnings after the bell today, and Amazon tomorrow. Prediction, if they can't figure out what's causing it, they can't guarantee consistent delivery of services, it is going to be a challenge. And Queens Gets the Money 7 says, at Dame Damien, it's everything. So we'll continue to watch this, Yuli, yes?
Yeah, for sure. Listen, there's a handful of companies that operate in this space and dominate this space. So I'm just thinking, fictionally to the future when we all have our little robot assistants following us around and Amazon or AWS goes out, Azure goes out, what happens to your sidekick?
Yeah. I mean, we rely more and more on these. And what's interesting, it's probably not an external force outside the US, but what better way to create a disruption than bring down some of these systems, whatever it is, it impacts all of us. So we're excited to come back on Friday. We've got a special show. We've got a special announcement. The car dealership guy himself will be joining us on Friday for an announcement having to do with these circle groups. We'd love to have as many involved in that as possible. And then we've got Brian Benstock coming up on Friday. So we're excited about that. Until then, we say thank you all for watching Daily Deal Live. We break down the biggest moves in the car business as they happen, including AWS outage, its impact to the automotive industry. Microsoft Azure will report their earnings on Friday. Thank you for watching Daily Deal Live, where we break down the biggest moves. Don't forget, we're live here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern. So if this is your world, hit like, hit subscribe, turn on those notifications so you never, ever miss a beat. And we'll see you Friday, everybody. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, guys.